Is a real frame of Helene of Troy in the Odyssey, enhanced with grok to see it better. It's ridiculous. Nobody in the world thought Helene of Troy was black. Nobody thought that.
Lupita Nyong'o, the Oscar-winning actress cast as Helene of Troy in Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, has reportedly had a complete emotional breakdown and is apparently considering exiting the film entirely after witnessing the intensity and viciousness of fan backlash to her casting, which has apparently mixed supposedly principled arguments about source material fidelity with overtly racist harassment and hateful attacks based on her race. According to multiple sources with knowledge of Nyong'o's mental state and her team's concerns, the actress is reportedly in severe psychological distress, dealing with depression and anxiety at levels that have alarmed her mental health professionals, and is apparently seriously questioning whether continuing with the role is worth the psychological destruction she's experiencing from coordinated harassment campaigns that have become increasingly racist and dehumanizing. This situation is absolutely devastating and represents the darkest possible outcome of the entire Odyssey casting saga. While Brad Pitt and the Troy cast are celebrating their victory over what they characterize as woke casting, while Christopher Nolan and Universal executives are battling over control of the film, and while entertainment industry observers debate the merits of diverse casting in classical adaptations, Lupita Nyong'o is suffering a complete psychological crisis as a black actress dealing with racist harassment that's being legitimized and amplified by supposedly principled artistic criticism about source material fidelity. According to entertainment journalists and sources close to Nyong'o's team, the actress initially tried to approach the role with enthusiasm and professionalism despite the mounting casting controversy. Nyong'o reportedly studied Helene's character extensively, researched how the character has been portrayed throughout history, and was apparently preparing to bring her own interpretation to one of literature's most iconic figures, while respecting the character's complexity and significance. But according to insiders, the accumulating layers of criticism, opposition, and harassment apparently gradually wore down Nyong'o's ability to maintain professional optimism. The actor had apparently believed that once she demonstrated her talent and commitment to the role, once audiences saw her performance, the quality of her work would overcome the pre-release criticism and vindicate the casting choice. However, as weeks passed and the opposition intensified, as the Troy cast issued coordinated statements condemning her casting, as boycott campaigns organized specifically against her casting as Helene, and as entertainment outlets ran stories about Diane Kruger criticizing Nyong'o's casting, the reality apparently became impossible to ignore. This wasn't going to be overcome by good acting. This was apparently rooted in something far deeper and more fundamental than artistic disagreement about casting. According to sources, the breaking point apparently came when Nyong'o apparently made the mistake of reading social media comments about her casting, particularly on platforms like Twitter and Reddit, where fan communities were organizing opposition. What Nyong'o apparently found was far worse than critical artistic discourse about whether her casting was appropriate for the character. Instead, according to reports, Nyong'o apparently discovered a torrent of racist abuse mixed with supposedly principled arguments about source material. Comments apparently ranged from overtly racist slurs attacking Nyong'o's appearance and race, to suggestions that she wasn't attractive enough to play Helene, to accusations that her casting represented anti-white racism and white erasure, to explicit arguments that black women shouldn't be allowed to play European mythological characters. According to sources, while some of the criticism was framed in terms of textual accuracy and source material fidelity, the underlying element of racial opposition was apparently unmistakable. Comments frequently referenced Helene's descriptions as having golden hair and fair skin, but then translated that into statements that Helene should be white, that hiring a black actress was woke casting, and that Nyong'o's casting represented some kind of cultural appropriation or anti-white racism. The mixture of supposedly artistic criticism with overtly racist abuse apparently made it impossible for Nyong'o to engage with the criticism constructively. She apparently couldn't separate legitimate questions about casting choices from racist attacks on her identity and appearance. According to reports, Nyong'o apparently read thousands of these comments, each one apparently hitting harder than the last. The actress apparently saw comments calling her ugly, saying she wasn't attractive enough to be Helene, suggesting that black women were ruining classical mythology, and expressing anger that European cultural heritage was being altered by what they characterized as woke ideology. The supposedly principled arguments from figures like Diane Kruger and the Troy cast apparently also affected Nyong'o deeply. Seeing respected and accomplished actresses arguing that her casting was inappropriate, that it contradicted textual accuracy, and that it represented a failure to respect source material apparently made Nyong'o question whether there was legitimacy to the opposition beyond what she suspected was racist motivation. According to sources close to Nyong'o, the actress apparently had a severe panic attack and emotional breakdown after hours of reading social media comments and following the organized opposition campaigns against her casting. Sources indicate Nyong'o experienced difficulty breathing, severe anxiety, and psychological distress serious enough to require immediate mental health intervention. Nyong'o's team apparently had to take her phone away and restrict her access to social media and entertainment news to prevent further psychological damage. The actress was apparently advised by mental health professionals to step back from all public-facing activities and to focus entirely on mental health recovery. According to reports, Nyong'o is apparently dealing with severe depression, anxiety, and what mental health professionals have apparently characterized as symptoms consistent with trauma from the harassment and racist attacks she's experienced. The actress is apparently struggling with basic daily functioning and is reportedly having difficulty finding motivation to continue preparing for the role given the psychological toll the opposition is taking. Sources indicate that Nyong'o's team has apparently been in contact with Christopher Nolan's production about her well-being and about their serious concerns that continuing with the film may not be mentally healthy for the actress. According to insiders, Nyong'o's representatives have apparently made clear that if the situation doesn't improve, the actress may need to exit the project entirely to protect her mental health. The psychological impact on Nyong'o apparently includes not just the immediate distress from reading racist comments, but also the broader realization that accepting this role has apparently made her a target and a symbol in culture war debates about diversity and representation. Instead of being celebrated for an opportunity to play an iconic character, Nyong'o is apparently being attacked as a symbol of everything critics characterize as wrong with contemporary approaches to casting. According to sources, what's particularly devastating for Nyong'o is the contrast between how the opposition to her casting is being framed and what she's actually experiencing. The Troy cast and critics are apparently framing their opposition as rooted in principles of source material fidelity and artistic integrity. But what Nyong'o is actually experiencing is racist abuse mixed with arguments that essentially amount to "Black women shouldn't play this character." The actress apparently feels that her identity and race are being weaponized against her under the guise of artistic criticism, and that there's apparently no way for her to successfully perform the role in a way that would satisfy people whose fundamental opposition is apparently rooted in her race rather than in her acting ability. According to reports, Nyong'o has apparently considered various options, including exiting the film entirely to escape the harassment and psychological damage she's experiencing. This option apparently would acknowledge that the opposition campaign has succeeded in forcing her out, which would be demoralizing, but it would also apparently remove her from the toxic situation. Continuing with the film, and accepting that she'll face continued racist attacks and opposition regardless of the quality of her performance. This option apparently means enduring ongoing psychological damage, but not surrendering to what she apparently views as racist opposition, taking a break from the production to focus on mental health recovery, with the possibility of returning to the role if her condition improves. This option apparently allows for the possibility that her well-being could improve with time and distance from the immediate harassment, making a public statement defending herself and her casting while calling out the racist elements of the opposition. This option apparently would allow Nyong'o to reclaim her narrative, but would likely intensify the backlash further. According to sources, Nyong'o apparently hasn't made a final decision about which path to take, but her mental health professionals are apparently concerned about her current state and are apparently advising her to prioritize her well-being above all other considerations. The support that Nyong'o has apparently received from the entertainment industry has been mixed and apparently insufficient from her perspective. While some actors and filmmakers have apparently expressed support for her casting and have condemned the racist elements of the opposition, these voices have apparently been overwhelmed by the coordinated criticism from the Troy cast and by the organized boycott campaigns against her. Christopher Nolan has apparently not made public statements specifically defending Nyong'o's casting in ways that might have helped counteract the opposition. The director's silence on her behalf has apparently been interpreted by Nyong'o as a lack of support from the filmmaker directing her in this major role. Universal Studios has apparently provided Nyong'o with security and some mental health resources, but the studio's primary focus has apparently been on managing the business implications of the casting controversy rather than on supporting the actress emotionally and professionally. According to sources, Nyong'o's family and close friends have apparently been supportive, but they're apparently also concerned about the severity of the actress's psychological condition and are apparently encouraging her to seriously consider whether continuing with the project is worth her mental health. Fan reaction to Nyong'o's situation has been divided, with supporters apparently expressing deep concern about the actress's well-being and condemning the racist elements of the opposition, while opponents of her casting are apparently unsympathetic, viewing her breakdown as a natural consequence of accepting a role they view as inappropriate. Some online communities have apparently continued attacking Nyong'o even after learning about her mental health crisis, with some voices apparently suggesting that her breakdown proves that she shouldn't have accepted the role in the first place. Other communities have apparently rallied to Nyong'o's defense, organizing counter-campaigns to support the actress and to condemn the racist attacks she's experiencing. These supporters are apparently distinguishing between legitimate artistic criticism about casting and the racist harassment that Nyong'o is apparently facing. Entertainment industry observers have apparently expressed concern about what Nyong'o's situation means for future diverse casting in major film projects. If a talented Oscar-winning actress can be psychologically destroyed by racist harassment following her casting in a major film, what message does that send to other actors of color about whether they should accept similar opportunities? Some observers are apparently suggesting that the entertainment industry needs to fundamentally rethink how to support actors of color who face racist backlash following casting announcements, and whether studios have responsibilities to protect actors from harassment that goes beyond normal pre-release criticism. The specific dynamic of racist attacks being legitimized and amplified by supposedly principled artistic criticism is apparently a major concern for industry observers. By framing opposition to Nyong'o's casting as rooted in source material fidelity and artistic integrity, critics are apparently providing cover for racist opposition that amounts to essentially saying, a black woman shouldn't play this character. The impact on Lupita Nyong'o has been devastating in ways that go far beyond professional disappointment. The actress is apparently suffering serious psychological damage, is apparently questioning whether to continue with the role, and is apparently dealing with the realization that accepting this opportunity has apparently put her in a position of being attacked for her race, while that racism is apparently being justified through arguments about textual accuracy. The tragedy of the situation is apparently unmistakable to anyone paying attention. While Brad Pitt celebrates his victory in the culture war over diverse casting, while Christopher Nolan and Universal battle over control of the film, and while entertainment industry figures debate the merits of diverse casting in classical adaptations, Lupita Nyong'o is suffering a complete psychological crisis as a black actress dealing with racist harassment. The Odyssey casting saga has apparently revealed a fundamental problem with how contemporary culture handles debates about representation and diversity in film. When principled arguments about source material fidelity become vehicles for racist opposition to black actresses playing iconic roles, and when that racist opposition gets legitimized by respected industry figures making supposedly artistic criticisms, the human cost is paid by actresses who are placed in impossible positions. Nyong'o apparently never had a genuine chance to succeed in this role. No matter how brilliant her performance might have been, a significant segment of audiences apparently opposed her casting from the beginning based fundamentally on her race. The arguments about textual accuracy and source material fidelity apparently provided cover for racial opposition that was never going to be overcome by good acting. According to sources, Nyong'o is currently receiving mental health treatment and is taking time away from public activities to focus on her psychological recovery. Whether she'll ultimately continue with the Odyssey, whether she'll exit the project, or whether the entire situation will force a decision about the film's future apparently remains unclear. What's certain is that Lupita Nyong'o is apparently paying an enormous personal and psychological price for accepting a role in Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, and that the human cost of the casting controversies has apparently far exceeded anything that would be justified by legitimate artistic disagreement about whether diverse casting is appropriate for classical adaptation.